Hi, this is Beth from Divine Me Time, and this is your July alignment. For what it's worth, this month's alignment takes a look at our beliefs around worth. What are things worth? What are you worth? And what about feelings of worthiness? Where do they come from? And how do we deal with them? What is worth? Let's start with a definition. American Heritage defines worth as a quality that renders something desirable, useful, or valuable. In other words, it's justifiable value. In Western culture, what makes that worth justifiable is deeply associated with wealth or possessions. I suggest that this limited meaning is conditioning minds to the point of toxicity. What got me thinking about worth? I was listening to a financial influencer who I admire for his visionary thinking. When his talk turned to the subject of worth, his comments made my jaw drop to the floor. He was saying that worth is gauged by what you offer the world, and that the wealthy are wealthy because they provide a value to society. I don't mean to laugh, that may be true in some respects. He was saying that if someone spends their time hanging out or on permanent vacation, that person is of no worth. I knew I had to be listening to his conditioned mind. He probably heard such things from those who raised him, not just family, but the circles he grew up in. I don't argue with the fact that this is the way that the world views worth. However, my mind was thinking of all the obvious exceptions. Some of the wealthiest people have caused the greatest harm to society. I was imagining some overpaid CEO boarding his jet, justifying his existence with the story of how much he's giving value to society with that overpriced plastic gadget that must be replaced every 2 or 3 years. While meanwhile, the elementary school teacher preparing children for a bright and informed future barely scraped by. I also imagined the great sage, Ramana Maharshi, sitting under a tree, seemingly doing nothing, wanting nothing, saying nothing, and simply existing in peace and harmony. And the uncelebrated contribution he was able to make the world. A contribution many cannot even grasp. A contribution of invaluable worth. Worth is inherent. What my young financial genius failed to understand is that the worth of each and every human is inherent. If someone lives and walks this earth, they have God-given worth and the full authority of that same power to live aligned with their own nature. They need prove nothing, although they will hopefully take it upon themselves to make the earth a better place in their own way. It isn't about how much a person has or doesn't have, has done or hasn't done. Plenty of value to society ideas have fallen on deaf ears because society doesn't necessarily value what is good for them. I would even venture to say that our materialistic society generally has no clue. So let's get some things straight. The value of things is one possible aspect of worth. This often is, but shouldn't be applied to people. The perceived value of a thing can vary greatly from person to person, culture to culture. In fact, there are very few things that are agreed upon to be valuable unless we are talking about values themselves, things like honesty, kindness, and beauty. But even in the case of these values, what constitutes honesty, beauty, or kindness? And what makes, say, freedom more valuable then justice. This is also open to interpretation. One might naturally argue that gold has global value, but again, what makes it so? In terms of objects, worth cannot possibly be determined by anything other than mutual agreement. That's it. Agreements. Agreements, though, are subject to the whims of man. And if two people cannot agree on the worth of something, does it really have actual worth, or is it a mere shadow of worth created by the mind? Now let's address the issue of self-worth. Where does that come from? For far too many, especially in our social media culture, it comes from external sources of validation, prestige, acknowledgement, and attention. This kind of worth requires constant maintenance and reproving. The ultimate problem with worth based on external validation is that the day it ends, all is lost, and one's sense of self-worth with it. This has been demonstrated throughout history by various icons and celebrities who turn to drugs or alcohol when their popularity diminishes and the true source of worth remains unrecognized. Rather, true worth is an understanding that one is a small part of something much greater. It is a recognition that worth is our natural birth certificate. It doesn't matter one tiny jot whether or not someone else agrees. The worth is inherent. If most of us lived by this principle, would there not be much more respect for ourselves and all of life? We could end the violence towards others, and even more so towards ourselves, that competition demands. We could take down the constantly shifting goalposts that require humans to prove something over and over again. We could stop the ceaseless competition and jockeying for position. We could stop using others as stepping stones to our own advancement, treating others like expendable goods in way of our ambitions. Idealistic? Perhaps. But if we can't strive for the realization of such ideals, what is anything for, and what, in the end, would anything be worth? Quote, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." Sharon Salzberg. Okay, so if you're here, I trust that you have a commitment to healing and remembering who you are, your true self. So as part of that commitment, here is your journaling prompt exercise. The feeling of worthlessness is actually a very common core wound. Consider when you either feel a sense of worthlessness and what situations or interactions precipitate it, or when you judge other human beings as unworthy or worthless. Where did such feelings come from? What is the underlying narrative or the fear beneath the feeling? You might find this uncomfortable or even painful to look at, but this is what a commitment to healing and remembering your true self requires. You can journal now by pausing this recording or return to it later. And now for our monthly practice, affirmations. The following adapted affirmation practice comes from my book, Scarcity to Sovereignty: Money, Meaning, and the New Economy. Make yourself comfortable in front of a mirror. Oh yeah, I probably wouldn't be able to so I'll have to take that out for Insight Timer. Make yourself comfortable in front of a mirror to connect with your own eyes. If done without a mirror, close your eyes once you've memorized each statement and can repeat it on your own. Say or even sing each statement out loud in as many different ways as you feel inspired to. Then move or dance while speaking it. If it feels fake or silly, that's okay, and it's part of the practice. Observe your reactions and compare them over time. And if you hit a wall and you want to work with a guide, you can reach out to me. Oh, one other thing. It's completely okay if something doesn't resonate. Feel free to personalize these or even add other statements to your practice as you work. And when you feel complete with the speaking and the moving practice, sit in silence for a time. Okay, so I trust you're sitting in front of your mirror. Spine straight but not stiff. Shoulders relaxed. Belly soft. As you become more present with yourself, you can close your eyes and simply feel your breath for a moment. Now I'm going to read out the statements and give you time to work with each one on your own. So if you're in front of a mirror, please open your eyes. So the first statement is, the breath that fills me with life is proof of my value and worth. So before you work with this on your own, to give you an example of how you can work with this, first of all, you're going to say it in as many ways as you can possibly think of. The breath that fills me with life is proof of my value and worth. Maybe that didn't feel so true, so you could say it another way. The breath that fills me with life is proof of my value and worth. You can also try to get out any resistance or discomfort with the phrase by being a little silly with it. The breath that fills me with life is proof of my value and worth. You could also sing your statement. The breath that fills me with life is proof of my value and worth. It's not about sounding a certain way. It's about feeling how it sounds. So here's that first statement again, followed by space in which you can work with it, speaking or singing. The breath that fills me with life is proof of my value and worth. Now move your body or dance while speaking. Second statement. I do not seek external validation. Neither praise nor criticism has the power to sway me. I do not seek external validation. Neither praise nor criticism has the power to sway me. Now move your body or dance while speaking. I am unique and priceless. None such as me has ever existed or will ever exist again. I am unique and priceless. None such as me has ever existed or will ever exist again. Now move your body or dance while speaking. I acknowledge the worthiness of all sentient beings who have also been given life. I acknowledge the worthiness of all sentient beings who have also been given life. Now move your body or dance while speaking. I walk confidently into every situation, knowing my worth is inherent. I walk confidently into every situation, knowing my worth is inherent. Now move your body or dance while speaking. I respect myself so much that the disrespect of others cannot hurt me. I respect myself so much that the disrespect of others cannot hurt me. Now move your body or dance while speaking. I commit to acts of self-love and self-care every single day. I commit to acts of self-love and self-care every single day. Now move your body or dance while speaking. Beautiful. Now come back to a seated position if you are dancing around. Allow your eyes to close and just be present with yourself and the reverberation of these words, these symbols in your field, internally and externally. Let them work upon you. Let them become part of you. So in closing, who's worth more, the savvy entrepreneur or the homeless guy on the corner? We might have lots of beliefs about that, but only one thing is certain. Death is the great leveler. It feels nothing personal for either of them, just as life didn't choose to make one over the other, but both. When we seek validation outside ourselves, be it from other people or a collection of things, we are undermining our own confidence and God-given worth, or perhaps inflating it in egotistical ways. Whereas when we radiate with the certainty of our unique value, we free ourselves from the myths at the root of unworthiness. It might take a little work to realize it, but the truth of your shining self already is. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.